Ahmaad.
And we're the Hoods. Welcome to Hood Tales, where we take you through the ups, downs, and merry-go-rounds of millennial marriage.
What's good?
Hey, y'all. Today we're going to be talking about, and really figuring out, I guess, is our marriage adaptable? Okay? When we get married, we often have to adapt in ways that we are often not taught prior to marriage. Whether that is, I grew up in a single parent household, so even just adapting to another man being in my space 24/7 was,
your brother?
like I said, another man being in my space 24/7 was a major adaptability point for me. And adaptability, the text, okay, Merriam says, Merriam-Webster, okay, says that adaptability is the quality of being able to adjust to new conditions. Okay, isn't that good?
It is.
It's a perfect definition. Shout out to Merriam.
Yes.
A lot of us are making up the rules as we go, us included.
Yeah.
Which
Ain't no handbook out here.
No, there's no actual handbook out here. But I think it's perfectly fine. I feel like because we're all like evolving, especially they say like millennials are evolving at brand new paces.
Yeah.
And so I think that it makes sense that we are like also having to keep up with that evolution at the same pace.
Definitely.
Okay, so there are quite a few ways in which we must adapt once we get married. One of them, the first one, is mindset, which is the expectations of what relationships should be, both good and bad. Okay, my example of this is I was expecting Ahmaad, and I do still somewhat expect Ahmaad to tell me when he has made it to all of his destinations.
Facts.
And he's just saying facts. Wanna know why? Because Ahmaad still does not do this.
No.
Okay, he does
And it's not on purpose.
do this. But I also understand that it's not something that he was raised with.
No.
Like me and my siblings were raised like that. So like I still. Okay, I talk to my mom on my way to work, but like 9 times out of 10, I'm off the phone before I get to work. So I text her when I make it to work. I text him when he makes it to work. Does Ahmaad text me and tells her he's made it to work?
Nah.
Ahmaad does not text me and tell her that he's made it to work.
What you won't do is stump on my growth, because I didn't used to tell you nothing. Every now and again, I do tell you that I've made it to work, that I've made it to bowling, blah, 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 blah. Right or wrong?
So like I said, because we're going with majority, right? So today Ahmaad did tell me that he made it to the bowling alley.
Exactly.
Today Ahmaad did tell me. Will Ahmaad tell me that he's made it to the bowling alley tomorrow?
No, every Monday night.
Every Monday. I will tell you that. Monday nights you typically do.
Yeah.
But when he told me that he made it to work tomorrow morning, if he doesn't drive me to work, he probably won't. And he showed up though, he do drive me.
So you know where I'm at. You got my location. You got your own codes to get into the building that I work in. Yeah, I'm not going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. Unless I got a break and I'm going home to take a nap. And that's rare, so.
He's just not doing it, right? Is any mindset shift that you had to change? Or adapt to?
That.
That I wanted to know?
Yeah. I guess too, also because your family had the communication to let you know that, I am where I am. My family didn't have that, but my people trusted me to be where I was. And I've always been there. You know what I'm saying? So like in my brain, that's not even a thought. You know where I'm gonna be.
Yeah.
But for you, granted, yes, you do know that I'm gonna be at work. But you also need to know
that you made it to work.
Exactly. Save on, you know what I'm saying? So like, and
you ain't get pulled over. You ain't in nobody ditch nowhere dead.
And I understand that. Which is why I'm telling you, like, I don't do that on purpose.
I know you don't.
You know what I'm saying?
There was also a mindset shift of realizing that, like, that's just not something he was raised with. Hell, your mama thought you was upstairs in your room and we was in Canada. We was out the country on foreign land, and she thought you was upstairs in your room.
Oh, boy, I thought you was upstairs asleep. That's gonna be it. When I was at home, I wasn't doing nothing. I was talking to nobody. I was in my room, chilling.
So like,
Oh, that's so funny.
You know what I mean? Like, it was really... like, be for real here. Right. That's funny.
Funny stuff.
The next way in which we must adapt is with behavior. We should be willing to change change the way we behave as an act of love. And this does not mean conforming to all of your partner's desires, okay? Nobody telling you to be walking around here like that white girl Kanye West, the way he got her walking around here acting, looking and dressing, okay? We're not talking about that. We're just talking about... What?
No, just that alone.
that's a perfect example.
No, it is. You're not wrong at all, but it's just
he got
crazy.
that white girl here looking crazy. You know what I'm saying? So we're not talking about transforming your behaviors like that, okay? But truly just changing some behaviors as an act of love. For example, like I don't come from a yelling household. That's not a thing in my home. Like my mom would yell at us because like what black mama don't yell at their kids? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But like we weren't in a yelling household. Yeah. And I know that was a little different for you. Definitely different. A little different for you, but one of the things that I was like, I'm not gonna have no yelling household. Mm-hmm. You ain't gonna be here yelling at me.
Well, that's also why I had that same thing. You know, that was something that. Well, before we got married, what we wanted our marriage to look like, that was one of those things. So that wasn't a behavior that I needed to adjust. But a behavior that I did need to adjust was being out with the guys all night. Especially...
Really?
Yeah. Especially we live in a different city. So like, if I'm going to see the guys, what am I being out? I could easily be out till midnight. And granted, we're not doing nothing but kicking and having a good time. But I also have someone at home who not only cares, but also wants to spend time with me. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's not a. You need to wrap it up. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah, I ain't never hit you with that.
No, but like.
I'm surprised that that's a behavior you feel like you had to adjust.
Yeah.
Huh. The next one which we may need to adapt, or maybe even must adapt, is plans. For example, Ahmaad moved from our hometown Flint to East Lansing when we got married. Because I wasn't going back home. Not quite yet.
Also, she never said that she wasn't going back home.
Yes, I did. I made that very clear.
No. No, you did not. No, you didn't.
I'm pretty sure I did.
No, I knew you didn't want to move home. You never expressed that you didn't want to move back home. What you did express is that you like the city that you're in. That's not the fact that you don't want to move back home. You never told me once that you didn't want to move back home. And I was totally okay with that. But it was definitely something that I had to wrap my brain around because I've been in Flint my whole life. You know what I'm saying? But then I also was like, because I've been in Flint my whole life, I also wouldn't mind doing something new. So, I don't have an issue with moving to Lansing.
And now I'm ready to go.
I also don't have an issue with moving.
Yeah, well, I mean, because we're looking at, not like heavily in depth yet, but like we're looking at new cities to move to. Currently still within the state, but like that is something that we are planning to adapt for and to. Because I'm tired of Lansing. I've been here a decade now, and I've had enough.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Isn't it nuts? Yeah, I've been out of high school a decade. Senior citizen, this guy. It's been 12 years. Another way in which plans must adapt is child planning. You know, why are you still looking at me like that?
Because you said senior citizen.
Yes.
I'll bust you this mic.
You are a senior citizen. But yes, child planning. You know, from unexpectedly possibly getting pregnant, or planning for a child, or unexpectedly getting pregnant with a multiple, okay? Or another second or third way too fast, okay, than what you were planning for. Yeah. All right. And even also just desires for children changing and planning around that as well. And what that looks like. You know, child planning for trying to become foster parents or trying to adopt, or, you know, like that's a lot of adaptability that has to happen if you all are going to stay together as well.
Very true.
Also, taking care of sick and elderly parents. A lot of adaptability and plans for that as well. Because there was a period of time which we was really trying to figure out what my mom was about to do.
Facts.
And the Lord knows I was praying long and hard. Because you got to heal her. Because Tanya can't come live in my house. Got to heal her. Jehovah Jireh, our provider. Okay? Which Jehovah is healing? Now you're going to sing the song.
That's how I do it. I ain't even know.
Jehovah Rapha?
I think so. I don't know though. I could be wrong.
I don't know. I can't remember now. Lord have mercy. Anyway, whichever Jehovah, I think it's Jehovah Rapha. Yeah. Whichever Jehovah is the healer. That's what I was preparing to. Okay, because you guys to heal her. Okay, because she can't come stay up in here. Because it's not a precedent. We about to start and sit up in here. Okay. That's not a precedent we gonna set. Is that mamas can come stay and live because they cannot.
But on the flip side of that, when mom had got she was going through dialysis, Raven had started cooking for her and everything. And you know, that wasn't really an adjustment, but it also was an adjustment because
it was more money being spent.
You know, more time being spent cooking food, driving to and from Flint. You know what I'm saying? And so,
even before then, because I was taking her to dialysis.
Yes, to them appointments.
So like I shifted my work schedule, so that way I could be off in enough time to get to Flint to take her to dialysis, and my sister would bring her home. Yeah, or even the Wednesdays when I was in Flint, and I would pick her up. And you would pick her up and and take her home, and it was definitely something that we had to sit down and adjust to and plan around. Yeah. Because it took all of us, you know, us and, you know, my sister. My little brother was still away at school, so he didn't really have much to do with that. But still, like, it took us planning to adjust around life adjusting. Yeah. To adjust around life adjusting.
And now, granted, it was a big adjustment, but it also wasn't. It was really more so an adjustment for her because, you know, my wife, when she do things, she do all things well. Okay.
Thank you.
So, for me, the adjustment was helping her where she needed, you know, a shoulder to lean on, or if she didn't have it to cook the food, what meals need to be cooked, I'll cook them. Yeah. You have it to cook the meals, you don't have it to drive, I'll drive the food to Flint. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the adjustment really, and I was okay with it. I'm okay with it. Yeah.
I mean, child, we was even about to adjust to figuring out how to move her to the city and what that looked like financially for us to help, you know, make sure she had a place to stay close enough. Yeah. To be taken care of if need be.
Yeah, might have had to build or something.
She wants a she shed on our lawn, on our property, whenever we buy a house. She wants a she shed. But the key to really realizing whether your marriage is adaptable is how well you all can transition together. Yeah. Because that transition is truly the test of time.
One of the ways to know that your relationship is adaptable is when you're transitioning through relationship and life changes and making sure that your relationship is still solid through those changes.
Esther Perel, the queen of all things relationship and love and really truly adaptability in relationships, if we're being perfectly honest, says that adaptability in couples is about responding to life's changing circumstances with good communication and a lot of flexibility. I know, right? Yeah. She hits everything so right on the head. She's just so perfect.
That was so good.
So perfect. And our good sis Esther has some questions to build adaptability. I think we should answer them if we have answers, okay?
Let's do it.
All right, so the first one is, does this arrangement still work?
Yes.
Yes. My answer is yes as well. What do we want to take with us from our previous relationship stage into the next one?
For me, it is definitely saying how you feel, saying what you feel, and then communicating that in a way that is not only digestible but also easy for you to understand, so that we don't have to be here again.
That was good. Really good.
You?
For me, it would have to be continuing to be honest about our challenges. And we don't have them often, you know what I mean? Like, not like big blow up challenges, you know, but as we talked in the last one, we are always realizing areas for growth. And also that we never let our desire to do the work to make this work stop. Yeah.
I like that.
Thanks. What do we want to leave behind?
Fear.
Ooh.
Fear of letting down your spouse. And, you know, when it comes to saying how you feel, saying what you need to say, you know, saying how much you have and where you are. Yeah, letting that fear go. Because your spouse is your person is always going to have you. Your person is always going to... and I can't say for the most part that they're going to understand always, but they will always be there. And I think that should be the constant versus, you know, fear.
I like that, Mont.
What about you?
Something we should leave behind. Man, fear was just so good. I was trying to think of one while you were talking, but I just got roped up in the fear. That was just so good. I really like that one, and I don't want to steal it because I don't have one. But that was just so good. I'd probably say, I don't know. That fear was just too good. I'm gonna just say that. That was really good. I think, well, let me rephrase that. Because I think that within the fear of what you were saying was like, I'm gonna say a lack of emotional integrity. Because that's really what at the base also, of it all. Yes. Yeah, I think I'm gonna say a lack of emotional integrity.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the next one? What do we want to try that we never have before?
What do we want to try that we've never had before? Ooh. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know either. As I was reading it, I was like, I don't know. I don't know either.
That's one to think about.
I do want to try actual relationship counseling.
So that's something we've never tried before.
Yeah, we've never tried it before. And we've talked about it because, like, I know he just said we're leaving fear behind, but, like, my biggest fear right now is the 7-year itch. And we are currently in year 5, but, like, that gives me anxiety right now. Like, and it gave me anxiety before we got married. It's like the 7-year itch because people put so much on it that, like, you know, I want to make sure we are good before we get to the 7th year. Which, I mean, I know that we are, but you get my point.
Yeah, we're good right now, but this is year 5. You know
yeah, that's what I'm saying. But, like, exactly.
You know what
what does it mean to consciously move forward into a new relationship stage together? Esther, these are great questions.
Every morning, Raven and I have marriage mornings at the end of our prayer.
Yeah, we took them from Melanie and Seth Studley from the Anatomy of Us podcast.
But during prayer, when I pray, I usually always say, Lord, thank you for our marriage. Thank you for, this day in our marriage. But give us the courage to learn to love one another for where we are and for where we're going. And I truly believe that is learning your person at every stage. No matter what it is that they're doing. Raven the worker, love her then. Raven the dreamer, love her now. Raven the worker and the dreamer, I love her. Raven the worker, the dreamer, and the wife. Raven the worker, the dreamer, the wife, and whatever else. Whatever the commas are, love all of them. You.
That was good. And I when you mentioned the prayer thing, I definitely, what do I say? I think I said, Lord, thank you for blessing us with this day, with a new day in our marriage. Allow us to grow in our communication, our understanding, our love, our compassion for one another.
Yes.
And they were actively looking and seeking for ways to make sure that the other is feeling seen, heard, and valued.
That's right.
I say it every time. It does in that exact order.
Yes.
Because that is truly my prayer.
Yes.
And so I think that is my consciously moving forward piece.
Yes.
Come on, Esther, you better show us we're doing this right. What conversations need to be had? Are there any?
If you listen to episode 3, the conversations that need to be had, that I need to be having.
The podcast turned into a whole conversation that need to be had.
Yeah. It's quantifying, where you are and what you have.
Well, what you got to give.
Yeah. And the conversations that need to be had for me is definitely quantifying where you are with all things. What about you? Do you have any conversations that need to be had?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't. I don't think so. What affirmations need to be given? That's good.
I can't say for. You say I can do hard things. The affirmation that needs to be given is that we can do hard things.
That's good. That's good, because that has been my own personal affirmation this year.
That also is a affirmation that I need to adopt as well.
I can?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we can do hard things.
Yes.
Yes, it's very true. Very, very true. I like that, mine. And I'm going to go with that. That's really good. Because I was like,
going to ask you what yours was too, but
as a relationship, that's why I was like, I think that we can do hard things. How do we redistribute our resources to meet this moment?
For me, I'm going to say for one, assessing what resources you have.
We have.
I'm sorry. I meant we. But assessing what resources we have. Assessing also what the need is for said resources. And then being honest about where we need them. What about you?
I think much like how we discussed in episode 2 of this season of rearranging our priorities, I think that this is something that we are actively figuring out right now. What that looks like as far as date nights and quality time and devoting work to our businesses, and reallocating those as need be. So I don't know if we need additional resources at the moment, but just reallocating what we have. The next one is, what do we do when we find it difficult to adapt?
Ooh.
That's good.
First off, I think we need to be honest with ourselves, and then be honest with each other about where we are, and make a actionable, steps going forward for us to get past, whatever the difficulty is. What about you?
I think that much of this goes back to episode 3 of quantifying where you are. And I think that when we find it difficult to adapt is figuring out what we have to give. And figuring out if this is a situation in which we need to readapt.
Yeah.
And not just readapt us, but like if it's, if it's a move, if it's a new job, if it's a lack of a job, if it's, whatever the I was about to say the adaptation, but I guess that's really what it is. That's trying to cause us to adapt or needing us to adapt what it is, and whether or not it just needs to be removed, child.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because that could,
that's
be the case.
That's adaptation.
Do it just need to be removed?
Yeah.
Okay. Versus us adapting around it. And then the last question is, how do we remind each other that we're in it together?
Be intentional. I do my best again, going back to our prayer every morning,
Mm-hmm.
when we have marriage mornings, is being grateful for a past gratitude and for a future hope. And I think that's a very good way for us to stay connected and grounded in understanding that we are in this together.
I fully agree. I love our marriage morning. Shout out to the Studleys.
For sure. I love you guys.
Can't wait to have you on.
I was just going to say we'd love to have you.
Can't wait to have you on someday, okay? I'll be calling y'all.
Come on.
But definitely our marriage mornings, our past gratitudes and future hopes. But especially our, I feel like we're vocal about the we're in this together. I spoke in episode 1 of one of my biggest lessons that I learned in year 4 of being married was that I needed to know that we are on the battlefield together, and what that looks like. And so I think that for me, it's also showing in the moment that I've got you, for sure.
Is that something that I show you?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what
I know,
you
I
showed
get,
me
yeah.
that, yeah.
But also, is that something that I'm vocal about enough with you? You know, like, am I making sense of what I'm asking?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it's something that, for me, needs to be vocal.
Versus something
I think,
that needs to be shown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be vocal for me to know that we're in this together. I think it really is a physical standing in the gap.
But I am showing you.
Yes.
Check the box, baby.
Yeah. Am I showing you?
For sure.
Okay. Do you have a hood highlight for today? Or anything else to add before you do your hood highlight?
There's nothing.
Wait, is this your hood highlight? Or
Yeah.
I'm
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't have nothing else to add, but my hood highlight is there is nothing wrong with having situations to adapt to. There are only chances for you to grow as an individual and for your relationship to grow to greater heights. Do you have a hood highlight?
That's good, Mods. My hood highlight would have to be one, that Esperanza to go. 2,
no lies.
2, that a lot of being adaptable to situations is not realizing that you're being adaptable. I think that COVID, I feel like, is like the biggest thing that I could bring up that we all have lived through and had to adapt through, and immediately, right? Like one morning, people had jobs. By 8 o'clock p.m. one night, they did not. Right? And so which is typical, you know, when people lose their jobs every day, right? But that was on a larger scale.
That was one button for everybody.
And that adaptability required no conversation. And so I think it's great to have the conversations, which is why we went through Esther Perel's questions about adaptability, because there are ways to, you know, grow in intimacy, grow in communication, grow in understanding, you know what I mean, with one another, which is always great, right? Yeah. But I think that a lot of adaptability requires no communication. All right, thank y'all for watching. You can find us on all of the socials. You can find the podcast on Facebook at Hood Tales with Raven Ahmaad Hood, and on Instagram at Hood Tales Pod. I am on Instagram and TikTok at _Raven Camille.
I am on Instagram and TikTok.
_.
The Gentleman's Groomer.
Yeah. And till next time, y'all. Thank you for watching. Bye.